It's only me, but I wanted to log on because this whole time that I've been doing YouTube for like 2 years now, I've never don't mind don't mind the mysterious box back there. This video is family friendly and safe for all ages. I have never gone on YouTube Live or Instagram Live or anything like that. I'm just looking at my phone now, and I thought, why not do it here? I have been thinking a lot the last 2 months have really been to sound or to not sound dramatic. I don't even care if I sound dramatic at this point. The last 2 months have been really transformative in my life, not only in the skateboarding realm, but also in my personal life. I was gonna see check that out. Yeah, Playboy, heck yeah, World Industries for life. So I didn't even learn this until like recently. But World Industries was the most profitable skate brand of the 1990s. Playboy and Waterboy. Love those guys. Classic skate tattoos. So, anyways, yeah, transformative. So, I haven't really talked about this in a public forum yet, but I am actually on mental health leave from work right now. And I'm not going to really go into too many details about that, but suffice it to say that I've been experiencing heightened anxiety this year. I have generalized anxiety and probably ADHD anyways. So, when it tends to be exacerbated by pressure at work. And I got a new promotion a year and a half ago and included a lot of new responsibilities that I honestly, now looking back, I don't think I was really ready for. Or to be more accurate, it's not that I wasn't ready for them. It's just that and this is therapy speak, so forgive me for that if it offends your sensibilities, but it just didn't align with a lot of their responsibilities. My job design. It was very quiet. I got plans and I worked on deliverables, and it was basically never got interrupted. And when I was done, I just sent everything in, and that was it. But in my new role, it was much more customer focused, much more sales and account focused. So lots of calls, lots of emails, and I still had to do all my own design work. So, anyways, I'm not dragging anybody through the mud or anything like that, but I needed a break. Um, we lost our dog earlier this year too, George Harrison, who we had for 11 years, and that was very, very hard on me, mentally and emotionally, and that added to the situation as well. So the flip side of that, and this seems to be a pattern in my life, is that whenever I'm having like transformative struggles or whenever I'm going through periods of transformation, my creative side like comes to life in a really like crazy way. Like I've been skating like a demon this year. I have been because I've just been like I've had all this extra energy and focus, and I've been like, let's focus on this thing that I can control, and it's really helped me out. And I went on. I started the process for my mental health leave immediately before I went on my road trip to Montreal a few weeks ago, and during that road trip, I had an amazing time. And I was solo for most of it, apart from going to the concert with my friends and hanging out with them for like a day and a half in Montreal. And I love them too. So it was so soul nourishing to get around like old friends that I haven't seen in a long time who make me feel really good, right? Like, and you should make an effort, a strong effort, to surround yourself with people who light that fire inside of you and who they help you raise your freak flag up on the pole, you know. So I had all this time to think to myself because the drive to Montreal is like 9 hours long. I went there and back. I was driving around the whole time I was there, and I had a lot of time to think about where I'm at in life, what I'm doing professionally, what I'm doing creatively, and it's no coincidence that also before I went on break, I purchased a course on how to learn to do affiliate marketing on the internet. And if you don't know what that is, this is not a sales pitch, but affiliate marketing is basically what I do for land yachts and what I do for Caravan Board Shop, where I kind of review or spotlight products and that they either sell or they give it to me at a discount or sometimes for free or whatever. And they give me a link and a discount code, right? So if you bought anything from Land Yachts or Caravan, I've got a small commission on that. In the skate industry, and I'm not this is no complaining right now here because I'm not doing this to make money. But the skate industry is notoriously kind of cash tight, cash strapped, and hard goods specifically do not have very much markup on them. So the profit margins on hard goods tend to be very low. So the discounts that you can offer up front and furthermore the commissions that I make as an affiliate are even less than that. So, but that's okay because what I'm trying to do is spread the scope for skateboarding. I'm trying to get good skate gear in the hands of people who want it and need it. And if I can help save you some money while I'm at it, that's great too because times are tough right now. Even if you make good money, times are tough. And especially if you're young, like a lot of skaters are, and you don't have a ton of money. Like I'm really grateful that I'm a grown ass man with a job kind of right now, but with an income. And so I don't really, but I can theoretically buy myself whatever skate gear that I want. And that's a nice feeling. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm not bragging whatsoever, but the affiliate marketing and skateboarding is a way that I can give back to the skateboarding world that has helped me so much just enjoy life and come to terms with just myself and athletics and all this stuff. So this affiliate marketing course that I bought, I didn't even really know what I was getting into. I'm sure you've seen in the reels all over Instagram where people are talking about different ways that you can monetize Instagram accounts or YouTube pages to have side income or create like a side hustle or some sort of passive income online. And it's there's like 30 hours of videos in this course. So I downloaded them all. And when I took off from Montreal, I started digesting and just like firing through these videos. And a couple of hours into my drive, I wasn't even in Quebec yet. Something clicked in my head where I was like, I'm already like a creative marketer. I'm already doing this. And like I said, this is not a sales pitch, and I'm not merging the pages in any way. It's a separate entrepreneurial venture, totally on its own. It just also happens to take place here on YouTube and on Instagram. And if you're really interested in that, you can DM me or whatever. You just go through. It's not hard to find people on the internet. Um, and basically, what I'm affiliating for now is I'm affiliating for that same course that I bought. It's $27 US, so it's like $42 Canadian. 30 hours of videos, and basically it teaches you how to go from scratch, like not having any idea what the word affiliate marketing even means, to being able to set up your Instagram page, the back end technical stuff, essentially setting up a digital business for very, very cheap. It teaches you how to like film and script and copyright, teaches you how to use AI and chatbots to like schedule and help with workflow and generate ideas and analytics and stuff like that. So anyways, and once, and just for more context, so it doesn't sound like an MLM thing. For context, you can affiliate market literally anything on the internet. Amazon was one of the very first companies online that did affiliate marketing. And like if you're into fashion, like Balenciaga has an affiliate program, Nike has an affiliate program, like Zoomies, Volcom, DC, skate companies all over the place have affiliate programs too. And you can literally do it with anything. And it just tends to be work best if it's something you're passionate and knowledgeable about, right? Because people are looking to you for advice. So I'm going through this whole transitional phase where like when I go back to work, it's going to be to less responsibilities and it's going to be hopefully to less stress. It's kind of going to be a demotion, but I'm not looking at it like that. I'm looking at it like I'm actually returning to a place where I was mentally better off at work. Like seriously, I was at work a lot of time and I was acting and like behaving and turning into a person that I didn't like or recognize and I didn't like being. So I was like, it's time to, and that's a really friendly way of describing something that it is kind of serious, and I'm not trying to make light of or reinforce the taboos surrounding mental health or specifically men's mental health. I'm just that's how I deal with it because I'm a man and I don't have the skills that I'm working on, but I am working on them. So I'm going through this whole transformative phase where I'm like, I'm finally going on a road trip for the first time in like a year. I'm by myself and I really like, I love my family and I love my friends, but I also really love spending time on my own when I feel like I need it. So I'm like listening to these courses, I'm listening to music, I'm stopping at skate parks, I'm having food, I'm having the best time. The weather's awesome. And I just realized on this trip, I was like, that this, like, I can make a go at it in like this social media sphere stronger than I have been. One of the things that the course touches on is like authenticity in making videos and how you shouldn't try to make yourself less when you're filming. Like you shouldn't try if you're making content to adopt a persona that you have to like work to maintain. You know what I mean? So like if you're a little extra, and listen, if you haven't been here, I'm weird. I'm kind of weird. I've always been weird. It's okay. I lean into it. I double down on my strengths. And like it does not serve you or the content you create or the people who are going to watch or listen to or see your content. It does not serve anyone involved in that sphere to for you to not be like your most comfortable authentic self. And I definitely realized as I was going on this trip, I was like, I'm a classic people pleaser. And the skateboarding scene, while I really love skateboarding, I do recognize that there is, has been, depends on where you look, depends on what your definition of, but I do believe that there is a judgmental faction of skateboarders out there, and whether that's to protect the core scene or whatever it is, if it's even just plain gatekeeping, some of that is out there as well. So when I first started making these videos, I was not really all that comfortable being the silly goose that I am all the time. And like I used to cut so much of my talking in the videos just in service of the skateboarders to make the videos quicker or faster or whatever. And I realized on this trip, I was like, I don't really do that anymore so much. But I realized I was like, that's what I'm doing. I'm censoring myself, but I'm not really censoring like in terms of no, it is censoring. I guess it really is. This is what I'm actually like. This is an insight into like the ADHD brain, and it's also an insight into content creation because I cut all of this. Clearly, I cut all of this stuff so the videos aren't all an hour long. Um, so I lost my place, and now I can't remember what I was talking about. It does not serve your art to not be your authentic self. So I realized I hadn't been being my authentic self, and if I want to make content that I'm as proud of as I can possibly be, it not only comes down to the technical details like angles and lighting and filming and editing and all that stuff, and like skateboarding, actually getting better at skateboarding so that it's entertaining to watch. But how I am on camera is just as important, and because I'm a personality hire. Let's be real. Like I'm sponsored by Land Yachts. I'm on a shot skateboard team, but like I'm not an elite skateboarder. Like I'm all right. I'm better. I'm actually better than I ever thought I would be when I got back into skateboarding, which is one of the beautiful things about it. I'm way better now than I was even as a teenager. Shit's crazy. But like I'm a personality hire. Land Yachts wanted to work with me. Caravan wanted to work with me because I this it's so smug sounding because I represent qualities that align with their visions. Like I'm friendly. I'm bubbly and fun. I try to be. I try to be. I and so that they see that and they relate to it and they think that there's other people out there that relate to it as well because there's a lot of us silly gooses out there. I don't know if you've talked to a lot of skateboarders, but a lot of us are really weird. A lot of us are really big weirdos. I'm not even that weird. I just really lean into my weirdness. So I realized on this Montreal trip, have the best time, like I've had like the time of my life. And I just realized that like if I lean into this authenticity, I can make better content. And that's what I'm trying to do right now by going live, just talking, because I want you to feel like this is the real me, right? I don't want you to feel like I'm some like fake internet person. Like I don't, I say I hate the word influencer, but as I do more content creation, I just also hate that word content creation. I I'm okay with being like, oh, the influencer, but like I heard the term in Big Deck Energy's 3,000 sub video. He referred to himself and me and a few of our other online skate buddies as skate creators, and I really love that, skate creators. But it's made me realize that if I'm going to make a go of this, And if it's something I really want to do long term, I might as well just get this program and start being the real me in front of you guys. So, and since I've been off of work for a few weeks, and I'm going to be off of work for a little while still, while I figure out my stuff and while I untangle all the knots that work will tied up in my head, that I'm going all in on this for now. So the next video I'm going to make is going to be similar to the why skateboarding is important to so many people video that I made a little while ago. I'm just going to pick up for a second and close this window. It's nice out, but it's also here. So we'll go back and sit down now. So that video was fun because I got this idea to start basically farming y'all for content and asking questions and then like making videos based on your answers like that. Because we're also coming up to winter in Canada, and even though I have super grateful to have a mini ramp in my garage is not heated. It's cold. It's super super cold in there. The only benefit is that it's dry and there's no wind and there's light. But if I just made mini rant videos, long form videos all winter long, I think I would get really bored of that. I kind of took last winter as like an off season from like, I don't know, from right after Christmas until like early March, I think. I didn't make any long form videos. And when I went back to making them, I was like, why wasn't I making these this whole time? But it's also good to branch out and provide you, my viewers, with more value than just watching me skateboard because it is a little bit narcissistic if all I do on this channel is skateboard, show you my skateboarding and talk about my skateboarding. I don't want to do that. So the next video I'm going to make is about the most stylish skateboarders ever, according to my viewers. I think about 2 months ago, I posted a reel and a short asking that exact question. Who, in your opinion, is the most stylish skateboarder ever? And I got tons and tons and tons of comments. I have picked 20 skaters because I think 20 is enough. And I read every comment and I took everyone into consideration. A lot of skaters had multiple, like, you should have seen how many people had Dewan's song and like everybody was like Dewan, Malelli. So which is cool. But I've got my list of 20 here. Oh, it's so fast you can't read it. More of that for later. But I've got my list here. There's a bunch of skaters on this list that I'm not familiar with because I was only really in the skate scene from like '98 to like 2005 or six, and then I wasn't in the skate scene whatsoever except for like the longboarding scene until like 2022. So there's a lot of, and mostly like younger skaters that I'm not as aware of yet. So I'm excited to dive into them, get a bunch of clips, familiarize myself with their skating, and basically like discover maybe even my new favorite skater. I contributed one skateboarder to this list. I very much agree. Um, Apart from the skaters that I don't know, and there's only a couple of them. Apart from the skaters that I don't know, there's I don't disagree. It's very difficult, especially with something so subjective. I could easily sit down with any of you and with any of the names on this list, and we could talk about why they are the best for whatever reason. Like talk about a guy like Mike Vallely. Like even if we were just to look at one little aspect of Vallely skating, like let's say jock athletic mini ramp skating. Like Vallely can he can shred a mini ramp so hard. He can get airs out of a mini ramp. Like he's skating a 5 foot mini ramp. He can easily air 5 feet out of that mini ramp. He's so gnarly in a mini ramp. So you might not consider him the most stylish skateboarder ever, but even if you look at that little subgenre of skateboarding that he's very, very good at, like he could be the best of that style. It's kind of like music or like I think of like guitar players. I've been playing guitar for my entire life too, and guitar players love to talk about who their favorite guitarists are, and it almost it's actually sucks when guitar players fall back on the technical stuff. They're like, well, like technically this guy's the fastest because he can play X amount of notes in this amount of seconds. And it's like, okay, well that is one way technically to measure like someone's prowess in something that's very subjective, right? music, athletics, or whatever. But when it comes to like guitar players, continuing with that example, like I think about tone and feel guitar players and tone. Oh my god, it can mean everything or it can mean nothing. Like tone and feeling are so important. Energy. Like my favorite guitar players are guys like Eddie Van Halen, who's the first guitar player that I ever heard who I was like, what the fuck is that? How is he even playing? And there are other players in that genre who are technically more proficient. You could easily say that Steve Vai is more proficient than Eddie Van Halen. However, Eddie makes my heart light up. So in my opinion, he's the best for that reason. I also really like David Gilmour from Pink Floyd because his solos make me feel things that there are no words for and stuff. Like Comfortably Numb, Time, Mother. Listen to Pink Floyd, kids. Listen to Pink Floyd, adults. If everyone listened to Pink Floyd, the world would be a better place. It really would. Um, Big surprise here. Skateboarder likes classic rock. Guy with good gray beard and silver streaks in his hair and a receding hairline likes dad rock. Oh boy, Oasis is back. It's frickin' White Dude Summer. Oh my god. So good stuff. I am stoked that Oasis is back. So yeah, that's gonna be the next video I'm gonna make. I'm also working on um my birthday challenge, which is learning a brand new mini ramp trick every single day for 38 days in a row to celebrate my 38th birthday coming up in December. Now, for complete transparency, I am about 7 days ahead. I started this 7 days before I started posting, and the reason for that was just in case I got injured or something happened where I couldn't skate because 38 days is a long time. Last year I did the same thing. I did 37 days, but I didn't cheat at all. I literally started. I looked at the calendar and I was like, okay, I want to be done. I want to do my last trick the day before my birthday so that I can so that I can finish editing the video and then release the actual video on my birthday. And I'm still going to release this one, Birthday Challenge 2 Electric Boogaloo, on my birthday, but I'm going to be done. I'm going to actually be done. So I'm up to like, today I filmed day 13, I think. No, sorry. Um, 12. I can't. It doesn't matter to you anyways. And so on my birthday on December 9th, maybe a little sooner, I'm going to release a full edit with like 2 or 3 makes of each, trick names, everything like that. So it's going to be really fun. I didn't dive into the details of it all last year, so I think in this year too, I will either do a companion video, like a second video, or I will just tag it on to the tail end because the edit's going to be about 4 minutes, so I don't want to add too like have a ton extra. But maybe I will just add a section on the end of this one where I talk about like suggest like what do you want to know honestly? Because like the what my brain defaults to is talk about the tricks that were the hardest to learn, the tricks that are the most fun, the tricks that were the easiest to learn, the tricks that were like the scariest to learn, the tricks that I'm gonna like keep in my oeuvre, in my like bag of tricks, because the one downside to being like to learning a bunch of different tricks is that you can't keep them all. They all do serve the like your overall skate strength, but you can't keep them all. It's just not reasonable to do 38 different tricks every single time you go skateboarding. So it's fun. And I'm gonna do some other talking head type videos like that, like the most stylish skater of all time. I think I'm really interested in. I was thinking of one about skate spots that are like really famous. Because I know of them. I know of a bunch like like really famous, and it would almost be like a history video of like maybe like the 10 most iconic lost skate spots, like the ones that aren't with us anymore, like Love Park would be like maybe some of the famous skate parks of the early booms in California that were torn down in the early 80s. Like stuff like that, I find super, super interesting. The history and culture of skateboarding to me is so fascinating. and like the different scene locales. That was one thing that was so amazing about going to Quebec was, and if you're not familiar with Quebec or with Canada, Quebec is a French Canadian province. So they have a distinct cultural identity and feel to that. Canada is vast and massive, second largest country by landmass on Earth. And we so and our provinces are so huge that each one really does have, much like the states and much like European countries and stuff. Like, we all have it all feels like different cultures, but Quebec very specifically feels like you go to other places in Canada and you're like, okay, yeah, it feels like Canada or whatever. But you go to Quebec and it doesn't. It feels like Quebec. It feels totally different, and they have a joie de vivre that I really, really, really love. The food is incredible there. The food is so unreal. We went to this restaurant run by the guys who run Joe Beef, and it was like an upscale French comfort food style, like but done at a super high level. I got steak frites, which is like grilled flank steak in a dark mushroom and peppery gravy with like these amazing fries. I don't think I can ever have that meal again because it was so amazing. So I had the best time in Montreal. Where am I going with this? Skateboard culture and history. Quebec has had skate parks for a really long time too. New Brunswick, where I live here on the East Coast, was really slow on the uptake to build skate parks. So we do have a bunch of skate parks now, and they're all still fairly new. But you go to Quebec and they have a lot of old skate parks. So you go there and they have different feels because skate park design has changed. That reminds me, I'm all over the place. That also reminds me, I'm workshopping stuff here while we have no viewers. Um, I like this attitude. Um, totally forgot what I was saying again. Something about Montreal, something about making videos, something about space box. I don't know. But I'm gonna double back to where I was talking about authenticity and providing value to the skateboarding community that I'm so grateful and appreciative of. Um, I when I started skateboarding, it was the late '90s, and we had Tony Hawk, which was great. You could learn a lot about skateboarding just from playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and reading Thrasher. But at that time, there were a lot of different skate publications. Like there was obviously Thrasher, there was Transworld Skateboarding, which is still around, but I don't think they're in print anymore. Transworld was awesome. I love Transworld so much. Here in Canada, we had a smaller magazine called Concrete Powder that was awesome. That was like a skateboarding and snowboarding magazine. And we also had SBC Skateboarding, which I do believe is still around. And they were like my favorite. SBC was so cool. And between, if you went to, and people in the 90s, we bought magazines, like me and my friend, we all bought magazines. We all had subscriptions to magazines. Like, you go to somebody's house, they had stacks of, I had stacks of Slam, which is a basketball magazine. I had stacks of Thrasher and Transworld, Guitar World, Spider-Man comics. Like, we had this stuff. I wish I still had them all actually. Also VHS skate tapes. I wish I still had those. Wish I had all my CDs. So anyways, at that time, you could find out information about skateboarding fairly easily. Because if you got into skateboarding, let's say, like one of your friends, you're in school, one of your friends starts skateboarding, and he comes up to you, or she comes up to you, and they're like, hey, like, skateboarding's awesome. And or maybe you're just over at their house one day and they have a Thrasher laying around. And you're like, what's this all about? And you pick it up and you can learn from these magazines. If you have a few different magazines, you can glean all this information about skateboarding. And you can do the same thing on YouTube. However, with YouTube and social media, information is less curated than it used to be. It's all out there. Everything is out there. But it's the volume is so high that it becomes a challenge to sift through the information about a given subject when you get started. And um, skate YouTube hasn't been as quick to adopt social media necessarily as other niches like tech and finance. So there's a bit more like alignment in those. So I was thinking, I know a lot of people who have started skateboarding again. And I probably know even more people who are interested in skateboarding, but they just don't know very much about it. And if you go on Amazon and look up books about skateboarding, there are some. like Rodney Mullen has a book. There's a few like trip guides and there's some skateboard art. There's a whole world of skateboard art and like coffee table books out there, and those are amazing. Those are amazing. But you know what there really isn't at a level that I think there should be is a complete beginner's guide to skateboarding. And the way to do it nowadays is through an ebook because using tools like Canva or Adobe Express, which are the tools I use to do all of my like thumbnails and captions and stuff like that, all of the graphic design elements that are involved in creating content. Um, like you can create it for free. You just have to put in the effort. So I started doing that about 2 months ago. I hadn't worked on it for a few weeks. I kind of let that became a disassociated coping project that I had when I was really stressed out at work. I was working on this ebook on the side just as a way to like control something and like put my energy into something. And I started thinking about it again a few days ago and how valuable that really would be. So not only do I have a background in skateboarding, I also have a bit of a background in graphic design. After I graduated from high school, I did 1 year of a 2 year graphic design program at the community college in my hometown. Shout out to NBCC. And I quit after a year because I decided that I wanted to go to university and have that experience with all of my friends. And I ended up quitting that after 2 years too. So, but it's not that sad a story. I did go back to school, university, and college. It wasn't for me at that time. But I learned so much in that graphic design course. I've always been very interested in visual art. Like I used to draw a ton when I was a kid. I love painting. I love I love making music and making videos. Like one of the big reasons I started this channel was because when we were kids and teenagers, the idea of recording our own skateboarding videos and editing our own skateboarding videos was so sick. And we used to imagine we'd be like, what song would you skate to? And I'd be like, I'd skate to Eleanor Rigby. Like, oh, that's sweet. I'd skate to Kickstart My Heart. Like we would have these conversations, and now I can do it. When I got my skateboard, I realized I was like, I can make skate videos, so that's what I do. To make my inner child happy, who is still very much a part of me. What was I talking about? Shit. The ebook. Yeah, so making an ebook. Um, so I'm gonna do this. I am going to make it visually like really fun to look at. It's not gonna be dry. It's gonna be like exciting to read. It's gonna have fun facts about skateboarding. It's going to have vibrant imagery and colors. And because I want it to be, it's not going to be for kids, but a lot of starting skateboarders are kids, teenagers, young people. And I want this to be really approachable to anyone who's getting into skateboarding. And I was even thinking about it like, I don't have kids, but I'm an uncle 3 times over. All of my friends have kids. I love hanging out with kids. Reading with kids is one of the coolest things ever because I also do voices too. Pro tip, if you read to kids, do voices. Just do them. People will like you more if you do voices. Um, be respectful, but keep them in check. But do the voices. Um, I was picturing like this idea of like parents reading this with their kids because my sister has 3 kids, and if you haven't noticed about kids, almost every kid is like thinks skateboarding is cool. They think stunting on bikes, scooters, skateboards. They think that stuff is so cool because they are switched on and they haven't been stamped down by society yet to think that stuff like that isn't cool for whatever reason or whatever. Um, and I was thinking, like, well, they're interested in skateboarding. Like, when they come and hang out and visit, they love looking at my ramp and the skateboard. Like, they watch my YouTube channel. And I was thinking, like, and my sister asked me, earlier this summer, she was like, you should come visit sometime and bring your skateboard. You should teach my kids how to skateboard. And I was like, okay, so the thing with teaching someone to skateboard is that unlike a lot of other so most people learn how to ride a bike, right? Like my nieces and nephews, they're all under 10, but they're all over like 7 or 6 or whatever, and I should know I'm their uncle. But they all know how to ride a bike, right? Because riding a bike is kind of a standard thing that you teach kids. So but skateboards really aren't. Skateboards are also not really intuitive right off the bat. to ride. And I think that is because if you think about a lot of sports, biking, roller skating, and I'm talking about the locomotion in sports. Most sports, especially sports where you're running, the majority of your movement and control takes place in this plane, perpendicular to your shoulders, right? Forward movement, backward movement, but essentially your hips and shoulders are parallel to each other and perpendicular to the direction that you're traveling. Think of skiing, skating, running, those kind of sports. Now, skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing, one wheeling, all these board sports, you are not traveling in that plane of motion. You're traveling pretty much parallel to your motion. Of course, when you're skating, snowboarding, you are using your shoulders, moving your shoulders around. Same with other sports, like you're not statically moving like that. But just the fact that you're moving with one shoulder in front of the other is very difficult to figure out. Remember when you started skating, trying to figure out if you're goofy or regular? Like most people don't have to figure that out when they start playing basketball or start playing baseball. Maybe they do, like not making judgments. But by that time, most people know if they're right or left-handed. And it's kind of the same thing in board sports if you're right or left-footed, but you don't really know until you start. And this is that's like just the tip of the iceberg of some of the challenges of starting skateboarding. So not only do I want this guy to cover some technical aspects of how to get a skateboard, a good skateboard, like where to find a quality skateboard, and how to approach it from absolute nothing. How to go from standing next to it to being able to push and kick and stop, essentially, is what I'd like the technical aspects of this book to cover, but I also want it to cover a lot more. I want it to cover terminology. If you think about skateboarding slang and jargon, like I on my own, if I just started doing like a mind map, I could come up with 100 different skateboarding terms and words that if you said to a person who's not familiar with skateboarding, they'd be like, what the heck does that mean? Like I just said, regular or goofy. Like what does that even mean, regular goofy? What's front side and back side? Some people, adults, grown skaters, they don't know always know the difference between front side and back side, and I'm just teasing. I'm not being serious. If you don't know, you don't know. So like I want to have jargon and terminology in there so that they understand these things, and so that and the idea is that if they are not connected, like maybe these kids or beginners are growing up somewhere where there's no skate park, there's no skateboarders, they don't know anybody in real life who's ever skateboarded, and they want to learn how to skateboard. They're going to be able to get this book. And this book is going to tell them, like, even though you don't have a skate park, that's fine. You can skate on a cul-de-sac or an not abandoned, or like a parking lot that's empty or anything like that. And it's going to be full of tips and how-tos, and it's going to make skateboarding accessible and welcoming to newcomers. Because I love skateboarding. I love skateboarding so much. Skateboarding culture is not as nice to beginners as it should be. It used to be way worse. When I started being a beginner skateboarder, even though you were skateboarding, even though you were trying to learn skateboarding, you were a poser no matter what. And I hate that word. I hate that word so much because it's just a convenient word for judgmental people to put you in a box so that they don't have to respect you or consider you on anything deeper than just that a first layer judgmental level. I hate it when people call others posers. I think that it's mean spirited and wrong and it hurts the community as a whole. And fuck gatekeeping. Gatekeeping sucks. Gatekeeping is so lame. Skateboarding has improved so much since it's gotten bigger and more popular and in the Olympics and in mainstream society. Like it's so much more accessible. So anyways, little rant over there. But I want it to show people that skateboarding is for them. If they want it to be, whether they're a little kid or they're old or they're a boy or a girl or they're whatever race or religion or wherever they live, like whoever you are, if you want to skate, you can skate. And I don't think there's enough people saying that out there right now. Maybe I'm grandstanding, maybe I'm coming off as really pretentious, but I believe this. I really believe in this. And I want this book to give people path. I want it to give them like a big download of information about a specific topic. Like if I was gonna just any other topic, like if I was going to, I'm looking at my bookshelf, so I'm trying to find like a book that like talks about. Actually, one second, I found one. Sweet, I found two excellent books. So information curation is super important. Let's say you go over to your friend's house, they have a cactus that you really like. I love cactuses. I don't have a cactus in my room right now, but I love succulents. I think they're so cool. And if that person, maybe they were a little kid and they didn't know anything about cactuses, but they were like, I want to know more about cactuses. You give them a book. You give them a book that is fun to look at. This book is called Happy Cactus. It has a bunch of different cactuses and succulents in it, how to take care of them all. Like it has fun facts about them. It has nice pictures. This is what I want to make for skateboarding, essentially. Also, something like I'm not into it as much as I used to be, but I, for a long time, was really into yoga and like calisthenics and bodyweight fitness. Bam, bam, books, information curation. Sure, if you're getting into yoga from scratch, you can hunt all over Instagram and on YouTube, and you can ask people, and you can try to create a pastiche from all these different disconnected information sources and try to put together like a structure in your mind of what yoga is. Or you can go to your bookstore and you can buy a book about yoga that teaches you, oh, how about all the history of yoga? How about what is happening in your body when you do different yoga poses? How about a big section all about the different yoga poses you can do and if they're standing or sitting or whatever? Like this is what I want for skateboarding. So my plan for this is to have it finished by December, I don't know, like Christmas season essentially. I want to have it finished by Christmas season. That still gives me a couple of months to work on it. I have the outline all done. I have the visual, well, not all done, but I have a working outline that I'm going with. I have, I've sourced professional stock imagery. I have been taking a lot of footage and photography myself. I have been writing copy. I pretty much have like the design template laid out. I have a color scheme picked. I have all this stuff that I'm like ready to go. I just have to sit down and start putting in the real work, writing, revising, reading, giving it to people, getting more revisions, that kind of thing, and figuring this out. And my plan is that I'm essentially going to give it away. Skateboarding is expensive, and if you're starting skateboarding, think of if you're a kid and you're starting skateboarding, and you maybe can get money from your parents to buy a skateboard, but like a skateboard costs $200. Easy. If you're in Canada, you can easily spend $300 on a complete, like, no question whatsoever. But if you want to spend a little bit less, go to the link in my bio, go to Land Yachts and use the code SkateOasis10 and you get 10% off at checkout. Or Caravan Board Shop, really nice people in Collingwood, Ontario. Such a shill trying to give the people quality skate products for cheap. So if I give this away, it makes skateboarding more accessible for them. And the nice thing about online stores and ebooks is that I can basically act like I'm Radiohead and I can drop this book and I can say, pay what you want. I can say, if you don't want to pay anything, that's actually cool. I'm not even expecting anyone to really pay anything. This is the same model I've used. I've made a few albums, music albums in the past. Three actually. And I've got like them on a Bandcamp or whatever. And I always put those up there with the same format where it was like, pay what you want. This is a passion project. I'm not trying to really make money off this. And a lot of people did download them for free, but a couple of people like paid me for them, and that was really cool. And it made me feel like, oh my gosh, like that's awesome. And any money that I have made off of this, because I have made a little bit of money selling, like shilling on Instagram and stuff like that. The channel's not even monetized, so I don't even make money off of ads or anything like that. But all the money that I have made, I basically put right back into the channel. because I'm not trying to be a fat cat CEO. I'm not trying to pay my living expenses making skateboarding videos yet. Um, yet, but so yeah, a pay what you want model is really nice because it allows people, especially in the beginning, to just make it a little bit easier. And then maybe down the line, if it's really popular and I get greedy, I'll make it. I'll make like I'll charge for it, but $5 maybe, maybe. Like I was talking to someone who's in this industry when I described what I was creating for them because I want it to be like 50 or 70 pages. Like it's gonna be legit. It's not gonna be just like a little pamphlet that you pick up. It's gonna be a freaking book. It's gonna be a book. Like, and maybe I will even print some too because maybe down the line, and this is only like version one. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to release it, and maybe a year later, after it's been out for a year, I will look at it again, and I'll maybe do like a second edition where I add stuff. I had this idea where like if I have tutorials, I can make specific tutorials, make them private videos on Instagram or on YouTube, so that like people who bought the book can be like, oh, he's talking about kick turns or how to tighten your trucks up. It'd be nice to do a video. Bam, there's a video of me being like, here's how you tighten up your trucks. Here's what different wheel sizes do, like whatever it is. And so I was thinking about that. There's always new artwork, there's always new things happening. So it's going to be the kind of thing that I'm going to, like, I can keep working at because it would be really sick of me. The idea that maybe someday, and maybe someday sooner than later, um, a kid might walk into, just like maybe a kid is at the mall with his mom or his parents or whoever, and they're walking around, they walk by like the skate shop, and the kid's like, oh, and maybe the mom can see like, oh, he's like little Will, he really like wants to get look at skateboards. So they go in for a second. Mom doesn't know anything about skateboarding. Kid really doesn't know anything about skateboarding apart from what kids know intrinsically is that skateboarding is objectively cool. Kids are spiritually switched on, they know. Um, and you know, the skate shop worker, he or she or whoever they can talk to the mom. They can be like, oh, here's a little information down on stuff like that. That would be really awesome. That would be really awesome. If they were like, you know what? Do you want this? Because like I was thinking like I would literally um pay for printing of I don't know 30 or 40 or 50 of these, and I would go to the various skate shops here in my scene, and I would give them a few copies, and I'd be like, give these away. Like just give them to if somebody who's a beginner comes in, just give them away. Don't worry about it. And I just love that idea that maybe they go in and like um maybe the mom is like she's like worried because she's like, well, we don't know anything about skateboarding, like, and are we just gonna buy like a $200 toy and we're never gonna use it? Like, and that's how people end up with Walmart toys. That's how people end up with Walmart boards is the skate shops, the mom or the dad or whoever does not know enough, and they're like, well, we're just going to dip our toes, which is not necessarily a terrible idea. But the book is going to cover very specifically about how there is a certain threshold of gear quality that you have to enjoy skateboarding as a beginner. You have to. There's certain things that Walmart boards do not cover. They might look like skateboards. They might be 90% the same as a skateboard shop, as a skateboard, like a real skateboard, like a Gatekeep skateboard, a real skateboard that you buy at a skateboard shop made by a company who knows what they're doing. That extra 10% makes all the difference in the world. It makes all the difference in the world to have that first extra level of goodness and having something that's actually industry standard. So imagine kid goes in, mom doesn't know, but the guy's like, hey, like we're giving these away. Or like if you buy a board, this is $5. Or like, hey, if you buy a board, like here's Will's QR code or whatever. Maybe they just have a QR code on their thing, and they're like, hey, here, like, Blue, it's pay what you want. It's a complete beginner's guide to skateboarding. It's 70 pages, and it teaches your kid literally everything, and you everything you need to know about skateboarding in a fun, digestible, I was gonna say attractive way, but a friendly way is a better way to put it. I think a lot of parents are put off by some aspects of skate culture, and they're the ones that we probably find are the most fun stuff like graffiti, street art, uh, hip hop, punk rock, heavy metal, wearing slouchy beanies and hoodies, wearing battle jackets, hanging out, like, that aspect of like bad kids or whatever. And like, I don't really think parents all think like that anymore, but the friendlier we can make it, the more approachable we can make it, the better. So if you have any ideas for things that would be beneficial for a beginner to know. Maybe things that you wish you had known when you started skateboarding that you maybe didn't know till years later, right? Like, I don't know about you, but when there's a topic that I'm passionate about, I want to learn everything there is about it. So when I was like 13 or 12, whenever I started skateboarding, if someone, I mean, I had fracture and stuff, but if someone had been like, you want this sick illustrated guide on everything you need to know about skateboarding? I would have eaten that thing up immediately and I would have read it continuously. So this is an idea I really love. It's something that I think I can really give back to the community that will benefit a lot of people. And with that, I'm going to kind of end the video now because it's 50 minutes that I've been talking. First live, nobody's come on, and that's okay. I didn't expect anybody to come on, but anybody who watches this after the fact is great. So thank you all very much. Take care of yourself and each other, which I just recently learned or was reminded is the same sign off that Jerry Springer used to use. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll try to get it. Bye.